I seriously can't tell if this is a blessing or a curse, but Genshin has been rerunning the characters I want to pull for, and I've been actually saving pulls, so you know what this means. More drawing the Genshin characters I pulled videos. Don't know if people actually enjoy these, but I know I like drawing these characters, even if I crash out over details. So without further ado, let's get started. DionaCon, let's go! The first character I had to draw was Diona. I thought she'd be difficult because I suck at drawing child characters, but turns out this one was the easiest to draw. I tend to struggle with making people look their age, but at least I think I made her look her age. Now, I used to beef with Diona. I kept getting her on Mobweeka's banner. She was one of the featured 4-stars on that banner a long time ago, but I've grown in appreciation for her because she's a sustain unit, but also her C6 gives an elemental mastery boost. So when I saw she was rerunning, I wanted to get her C6. I managed to get C3 from Skirk's banner where I got my accidental Skirk, but we don't talk about all of that. Anyways, she's kind of a funny character, I'm not even going to lie. She's like a bartender, but she hates alcohol. She doesn't like to see people just drinking themselves and all of that. So she's kind of made it her mission to make the worst tasting cocktails to deter people from alcohol, except for some reason her cocktails always taste the best. I always like silly characters like that, so yeah, I do appreciate her now. She was kind of fun to draw, and I think she turned out cute. I drew her holding one of those drink mixer thingies because bartender. I mean, since she's a 4-star, this was going to be a simple illustration, but hey, this is probably a nice warm-up before whatever comes next. Here is how it turned out. Again, this was easy to do, and it was actually my quickest illustration. Anyways, let's move on to the next one. Wait, but if I have like good 4-star luck, does that mean like oh, wait, that's early! Wait! Wait! But like if I lose 50-50... Yo! Now, normally for these videos, I get the 5-star at the very end because good luck doesn't exist for me. Except this time it did. I won my 50-50 and she came home at 21 pity after I went back and checked. And so that's why we're drawing her this early into the video. Sitlolly has been pretty kind to me on both of my accounts. I pulled for her in my Europe account a while ago and she came home at 40 pity. Now, I did have a guarantee though, but she could have dragged me up to like 80 pity. These pulls were on my North America account and I didn't have her over there, so yeah. Now, in typical Genshin design fashion, she had a lot of details. This meant she would be difficult to draw. I spent a good amount of time on her piece, and because she's a 5-star, I give her the mandatory fully rendered illustration. I think I stopped doing full body illustrations completely after my Wanderer pulls just because it's too difficult to think of a good compositions for those things. I came up with something and I hope it's good. Design-wise, I really like her design. I like the pastel colors a lot. I also think her concept as a shaman is pretty cool. To me, she's very pretty to look at and I'm happy to get her. But also, she was kind of a necessity on my account because my Mobweeka is questionable. Now, because she has a lot of details, you all probably figured I had a hard time with the line art. I was kind of sitting in my chair after the sketch was done and was like, when does this pain ever end? Because if there's a lot of details in the characters, chances are I have to spend even longer on the line art to get all of those details in. And line art is probably one of my least favorite parts of my drawing process. But I don't think I can go without the line art, so it's a necessary evil. Now, coloring this was a bit better. It was nice seeing all of the details come together, but also, I love Sitlolly's color palette. I love pink characters for the most part. Like Miko comes to mind, there's also Kokomi. I realized both of them come from Inazuma. I mean, I like Inazuma characters, but back to Sitlolly. Yeah, so I pretty much just had a good time with coloring her. But then of course we get to shading. There were a good amount of layers in the flat colors, so that means I had to spend more time shading. I mean, it is good to spend time on your art though, but I also like for things to go by fast so I can do more things. And let's just say I was speeding through these pieces because I want to have a somewhat consistent upload schedule, because I know the algorithm would cook me alive if I didn't. Anyways, even with all of the time I put into this, it was nice seeing everything come together. I also always have the most satisfaction when I see a difficult piece get done. Okay, so this probably isn't the most difficult piece I've done in my life, but this was the hardest one out of this video because of the details. And also the background. We don't speak of the background. I really was just doing anything and then decided to blur it because depth. I had no idea what I was doing for rendering effects, but I did something and hoped it looked good. Really, the gradient maps kind of just tied everything together and yeah. Here is the final illustration. I do love how this turned out in the end. I think the colors are probably the best part of this. But then again, I think coloring and rendering effects is probably the best part of my art style, so yeah. Okay. Give me the character cons. I just want the character cons, man. Normally I stop pulling after I get the 5-star, but I wanted to get constellations for some of the featured 4-stars, specifically Diona and Beidou constellations. I managed to get C6 Diona, but my Beidou was only C2, so there was a long way to go. I ended up getting a constellation for Femine, which is alright. I can't hate on him too much because my friend adores this character, but also Penguin. Femine is a cutie pie, and I think his design is adorable. I just wish he was more useful in the game, because let's just say physical damage kind of sucks in Genshin. I mean, it's a game about elemental reactions or something, but like still. With the new stellar conduct buffs, you'd think that physical damage units would get buffed, but nope. Anyways, since I got Femine, that means I gotta draw him. He is a Fontaine character, so that means I'd probably have a difficult time with him. To make things easier on myself, I drew him holding his little penguin thing. It meant I could cover up some of the details, but also, it's cute, so why not? Even so, I still spent a bit on this. I did struggle on the hair slightly because it didn't look right. I was drawing it wrong. I mean, I drew something passable, but that was an entire process. This still took an okay amount of time, but obviously not as long as the Sit Lolly piece. It's a bit concerning if I did take that long on a simple illustration. Anyways, I'll talk about the coloring process a bit. One of my favorite parts here was giving Femine his freckles. I love drawing freckles in art, even if most of my own original muses don't have them, but when they do, it's fun to me. It's just a tiny little thing, but it makes a character very cute. So yeah, Femine was already adorable to me, and then boom. Now when it came to his shading, he wasn't too bad. Not as many layers to worry about, so I was pretty relaxed here, but overall, it was probably a bit time consuming at first, but towards the end it was much better. Here is the final drawing. I think it turned out alright. Hopefully you all think I did okay on it. Maybe I should consider building Femine for real on my account though. Beidou-con, please, please, please. Beidou-con! Of course, I had to make sure I get Beidou in this banner because I kept on pulling because of her. Now, I drew Beidou once for this series already last year, but see, people can improve from a year ago, so I wanted to do better here. You'll see me flip through my old drawing of Beidou to this current drawing so I can reference things. Sometimes I don't remember how I drew certain facial features, and yeah. I also needed to reference colors too. I did struggle on the pose initially though. I didn't want to draw her just standing there. I came up with something, but hopefully it doesn't look too jank. I do appreciate that past me gave her sharper features though, like a more defined face. I think it fits her, but of course people can draw Genshin characters however they want. Sometimes I end up weaving a few of my own personal headcanons into my fan art of them. I always love it when artists do that. It's just interesting to see. But anyways, Beidou wasn't as difficult to draw as I remember her to be. But to be fair, I'm only drawing a bust shot, so it does cut off some of the lower details. This drawing went by extremely fast because it was that easy. Maybe not as fast as Diona's, but still fast enough. I did record this into 3 parts though because I took numerous breaks in between. Let's just say at that point, I had been drawing for a day straight and yeah, that does things to you. But hey, I did manage to get it done, so that's all that matters, right? Here is the final drawing. I think ending this video off with Beidou is actually pretty good. I love Beidou a lot and I should have built her more, but I fear my attention keeps getting stolen to other characters. But hey, at least she gets another good art piece from me. So yeah, those were all of the characters I got from pulling on Genshin this patch. It was an extremely lucky haul, and hey, now we have some art out of it. Anyways, if you want to see more from me, I'd appreciate a like and subscribe. Maybe I'll see everyone in the next one. Until then, bye!